Good morning. So often we've said, talk to the hand when emotion came up. Mm-hmm. Pushed it back, huh? Well, let's do this journal. This one's pretty recent. It's from 12/10/2010. First of that day, Mayan day, was 3 Flint in the Control and Manipulation series of examining beliefs called Fear to Feel. Emotion as the route to spiritual self. It's amazing how this difference can keep happening each new day. I'm overusing this word amazing too. I realize that. We'll have to find a new one. It kind of leaves you wordless, though. So many things do. Life is just ever new somehow. Like it says in the Bible, behold, I will make all things new. The Bible writers must have been in 4D themselves, for it also says, there is nothing new under the sun. The containment of the opposites, mutually exclusive though they may seem. It is certainly a joy to know that we have the infinity, eternity in which to explore cosmos, in which to keep finding with new delight the changes that have been wrought. So odd to be moving from 3D to slightly higher dimensions to discover how one is the expansion of the other, the containment of that which in the lower realm cannot be contained together. Up higher, we see how the supposed opposites are just the one thing, different aspects of that one. I was listening to Bringers of the Dawn, the Marciniak audiobook last night, and it offers some key things. Take this line, for instance, quote, emotion is the key, and then I have an ellipsis. As human beings, you need emotion to connect with your spiritual self, close quote. Now, I do think emotion is key. And as we look at the Western world especially, but the whole world, we find that emotion has been under attack. The free flow of emotions, particularly the pleasant ones. The attempt has been made to shut us down that way on the one hand, to contain us in left brain where emotion is not present. And the other prong of attack has been to keep us cycling in the dark emotions of anger and fear. By keeping us quietly terrified and or desperate, we have been forced to lose touch with the spiritual self to some extent. The bulk of humanity no more know what it's like to be carefree and joyous, to allow themselves to just be, to relax, to be quiet and free. We've reached the point where we practically need a teacher to lead us into these natural states. Well, if emotion does indeed connect us with the spiritual self, then such a dark strategy makes sense. But do you see how, once this is seen through, it loses its effect, its ability to torture and manipulate? Come and see with me here how vision is so very powerful, how just seeing into such things bursts their balloon. We are powerful beings, my friends. Let us be waking up to that. Let us be no more content to be sheepled about, or, worse yet, to sheepdog one another, forcing others into line. Policemen and those in uniform, listen up. Your business, my business, God's business. By keeping the three clearly distinct, being aware of our own and pulling out of each other's affairs, we can do quite a lot to break free of their nets of the matrix. Better yet, let's break one another out of them. Peaceful non-compliance is the catchphrase of the day. And if not yet, then let us make it so. Peaceful non-compliance. I like the ring of that. Let us wake up now and be alert to how they want us to protest, to march, to carry signs, to get violent. They incite violence among us with their stooges, their disinformers in disguise, their plants in our groups, our organizations, to foment fighting. As we become more aware of that, perhaps we can better spot them, but it doesn't matter at all, really. Do you know why? Because by surrendering such open protests, such group events where we can be manipulated in this way, by sticking close to that phrase, that word, peaceful, and to all that it means, we slip right out of that noose. It can't capture us at all. If we just walk away from it, refuse to fight, party's over. Do you see? Please recall that they want violence wherever they can incite or arouse it. This they use as the excuse for their ever more draconian laws, regulations, and policing efforts. To keep us supposedly safe, they convince us to give up our liberties. Enough of that. Like dumb sheeple, we have handed them over in the name of such things as the Patriot Act. Let us wise up and wake up to their tactics, my friends. No more. We hold the power, if we will but wake up and see into what is being done. This is where one can fault those who are so determined not to see anything negative. Not realizing that is just another way of the disinformers to take power from us. They call this spirituality. Among the huge roster of teachers that are making the rounds in these last 20 years or so, most are not untouched by the darkness. Few are sufficiently ego-free and pure to be above this. The dark ones are wily and slick, as well as dark. Remember, too, that we're no mental match for them, with our DNA stripped down to the double helix. That gives us only the small part of our brain to work with. The mental fight is thus so uneven. That right there is why I don't choose the playing field of the mind. The odds are all wrong for the light beings there, for the moment, of course. Let us remember that the only rule is that everything changes. In the meantime, let us both be wise and harmless. Let us choose our own playing field. Yep, that would be heart. They can't touch us there. Now there, I've probably shocked some of you pretty much, showing how there's actually some sense in my choice, picking heart overhead. You may have thought it was brainless, but it makes good sense. Well, you are still partially right, though. How? Because I didn't choose heart for any reasons at all. The reasons show themselves much later. After the choices were made, the logic, the reasoning sometimes shows up. So we're both right. Both brainless and not. I like it that way. Paradox is lovely, don't you think? As we step more and more into heart, we enter the non-local, the non-physical. It's a new world entirely, as you so often hear me saying. Everything is so different here. Well, here's another line from Marciniak in Bringers of the Dawn that caught my attention. Quote, "You need emotions to comprehend the non-physical, which is why emotions have been so controlled upon this planet. Ellipsis. Most human beings are afraid to feel." Close quote. By the way, ellipsis is 3 dots. That means I skipped a few words or maybe a sentence there. Okay, well again, seeing is freeing. Once these things, these strategies and tactics are seen through, they are dead. they produce no more the great effect. Their effectiveness dissolves. This is the reason for all of the secrecy, all of the dumbing us down, all the secret societies and the like. The dark side well knows how, without vision, the people perish, but with it they awaken. They triumph over all such plots, which are then seen for the pure nonsense they really are. Again, the light way, the right way, is to see through it, then simply to walk away, to pull out, pull back from allowing yourself to be invaded or controlled this way. Attack, revenge, or anger itself is just to fall into another one of their traps. Are you seeing this? The battlefield, which is the level of mind, is certainly mined and booby-trapped well. It's time to open our inner eyes and to begin to see things in wider view and vision once again, as mankind once used to with his full DNA complement. That's our right. That's what's returning to us in this oncoming age. Wise as serpents indeed. So I guess my plea here is on the side of emotion. Let's begin feeling once again. As little children, we well knew what they were, what they felt like. So we all have to call on that and so very much more. We all have that to call on, the memory of deep feelings that children experience. A big part of our work, of our joy in re-entering our native spirituality, is to re-energize, to uncage our feeling side. We've walked around in lockdown mode long enough. It's time to break free. Now, a few thoughts at the end here on that. First, as you're uncaging yourself, your emotions, your feelings, don't harm anyone else. Take to heart Byron Katie's 3 businesses and stick to your own. Beat up the pillows or go to the gym. Beat on the punching bag there if you need that. Take a walk, take a run, lay down on the lawn and kick, scream, and beat on the earth. She can take it. Mother Earth understands. She helps us purge and purify our energies to be grounded. She has great power and joy to do that for us. Don't be afraid, don't fear to hurt her as you come to terms with your pent-up feelings. She's more than equal to this. My way of opening to this stuff, though I did beat on my share of pillows and smacking walls for the nice ringing sound that it made, was to go to the journal. Much help is provided that way. I don't understand it, so I can't explain how it works. I just know there is help to be had as we journal. So do it until you come into a sense of comfort with writing things down. If you do this, you will often be amazed. As one last caution, from heart, we don't react, we respond. If you find yourself instantly reacting to things you see or hear, know that you are in mind there, not in heart. Heart is a whole nother world, one that doesn't react to things. If you'll notice, that shows you can't be easily manipulated the way so many are. You've pulled right out of that arena into another one entirely. All of this is part of being sovereign. We are taking our own self back from the matrix. These are just a few of the simple ways, they are quite easy and accessible to all, that we regain our native dignity. As great sovereign beings, we are less subject to manipulation. Day by day, we are able to see through more and more of it. We don't go around with a suspicious consciousness. That's just another way to be bound in the mind. No, instead, we simply don't place our trust in anything outside of the heart. Heart will take care of things. Light knows what it's doing, and our presence in heart lets light come into the world through us. Light knows best. Thus do we regain our sovereignty step by step, or sometimes many steps at once. To step into our full greatness doesn't occur in an instant. How can it? We've been well stripped down of the avenues which lead us that way. And that doesn't matter one bit. However, in the new oncoming age, we are coming back into our own, and in such magnificent ways as will simply never cease to amaze us and others. Great joy is found. No more the long faces, heavy hearts. Up ahead is deep, abiding joy. One last word. Remember, every coin has two sides. That does not mean that one is good, one is bad. Please remember that. Your dark emotions are also your gifts. They too have treasure for you. Be patient with them, patient with self. This is one of the ways our gifts are given. The way to receive them is to simply allow, to fully allow self to just feel them. So if you feel dark or sad, please don't run from that into seeking some fun, some lightness of being. Love the self. Grant the self the right to feel how it feels. Do you see this? Quit caging yourself. That's not fair. You're not letting yourself grow if you do that, not letting self expand out into its native larger being. You've got a full range of emotions. They are your treasure. Don't turn some of them away, accepting only the pretty ones. All emotions have merit and something to say. Every one. If you're afraid of your emotions, well, just have a good look at that. Just observe self there. What is to fear? Are you not a great light being? Believe it or not, God's in his heaven and all's right with the world. I know, just a crazy old saying, and though we could pick it apart for several politically correct reasons, let's not. Just realize that in spite of all appearances to the contrary, everything is perfect just as it is. Let go of feeling something is wrong. That's the mind in discomfort. Learn to recognize that. That's not you. I'll close with two more lines from Bringers of the Dawn. Quote, "Trust your feelings, no matter what they are. When you are not afraid of feeling and you move past judgment and allow yourself to feel all the ways that you feel, you will have a tremendous breakthrough because you will be able to ride feeling into other realities." Close quote. Now, how's that for lovely? See you soon. Don't be afraid to just feel. See you in heart. Bringers of the Dawn, the Marciniak audiobook last night, and it offers some key things. Take this line, for instance, quote, "Emotion is the key," and then I have an ellipsis. "As human beings, you need emotion to connect with your spiritual self," close quote. Now, I do think emotion is key. And as we look at the Western world especially, but the whole world, we find that emotion has been under attack. The free flow of emotions, particularly the pleasant ones. Good morning. So often we've said, talk to the hand when emotion came up. Pushed it back, huh? Well, let's do this journal. This one's pretty recent. It's from 12/10/2010. First of that day, Mayan day, was 3 Flint in the Control and Manipulation series of examining beliefs called Fear to Feel. Emotion as the route to spiritual self. It's amazing how this difference can keep happening. The attempt has been made to shut us down that way on the one hand, to contain us in left brain where emotion is not present, and the other prong of attack has been to keep us cycling in the dark emotions of anger and fear. By keeping us quietly terrified and or desperate, we have been forced to lose touch with the spiritual self to some extent. The bulk of humanity no more know what it's like to be carefree and joyous, to allow themselves to just be, to relax, to be each new day. I'm overusing this word amazing too. I realize that. We'll have to find a new one. It kind of leaves you wordless, though. So many things do. Life is just ever new somehow. Like it says in the Bible, behold, I will make all things new. The Bible writers must have been in 4D themselves, for it also says, there is nothing new under the sun. The containment of the opposites, mutually exclusive though they may seem. It is certainly a joy to know that we have the infinity, eternity in which to explore cosmos, in which to keep finding with new delight the changes that have been wrought. So odd to be moving from 3D to slightly higher dimensions to discover how one is the expansion of the other, the containment of that which in the lower realm cannot be contained together. Up higher, we see how the supposed opposites are just the one thing, different aspects of that one. I was listening to